FutureDad 23, Habits Part 2, How to Create Good Habits. Quote, "Old habits are strong and jealous." Dorothy Brand. Habits are far stronger than willpower. As I describe in FutureDad 14, Habits Part 1, Habits Eat Willpower for Breakfast. Practically everything virtuous and long-lasting that I have achieved, all-round fitness, steady health, early rising, diversified income, mental resilience, early retirement, a low-carb diet, ample free time, and a stable relationship, have come from implementing the right habits. These virtues are all topics I cover explicitly or implicitly in other essays. In this essay, I'll talk about techniques to acquire and implement productive long-term habits. I will split this into 6 crucial steps. 1. Noticing. 2. The decision. 3. Incrementalism. 4. Change one thing at a time. 5. Grit your teeth. 6. Visualize to stop you wavering. 1. Noticing. Early in my career, I went through a prolonged period of stress, much of it self-inflicted due to pre-existing bad habits. My main coping mechanism for the stress was to overeat. My overall consumption didn't change dramatically, but it was enough to stretch myself, more specifically the waistband of my favourite jeans, in an unwanted direction. I did see the change in my appearance. In fact, I stared at it when I looked in the mirror, but I didn't really see it. I didn't notice. Noticing takes both deliberate effort and acceptance of the facts. It requires a conscious distinction between what was and what is. So, however your life is going off track, if you see it, it doesn't mean you've noticed. Those two things are decidedly not the same. They are different places on your journey. Noticing is a couple of train stops further on than seeing, and the station before decision making. You won't and can't improve your life until you start to actually notice the bad thing. It's the reason why people waddle around blissfully unaware that they are fat. Do they have mirrors? Yes. But their self-talk is not that they are fat. They say, "You look good today. Your hair looks shiny," and so on, and so on. Tragically, society increasingly enables that positivity. It takes a true friend to point out that you look fat in a group photo. Sometimes it takes complaining to a laundrette that they have shrunk your jeans when they are exactly the same size as the label. Sometimes it takes your parents to play you back what you said in a voicemail for you to notice your excessive drinking. You must decide today to actively notice if any of your habits are leading to poor outcomes. Likewise, noticing your behavior pre- and post-habit formation involves the same conscious decision-making effort. On the other side of that hill, you must decide to actively notice if your new habit is demonstrating beneficial results. When you become good at something, the natural instinct is to stop giving it attention, but you must force yourself to. It is the key to its continuance. That should be almost all you need to keep a desired habit going. 2. The decision. Having noticed something is wrong, how to begin with a new habit. It starts in your head with a conscious decision. You may not have started destructive behavior with a conscious decision, but you will only end it and begin something better with a conscious decision. The simpler the better. I will stop being a slob and I will work out on Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 7 a.m. is a good start. Habit formation has to be specific at its inception or it is doomed. 3. Incrementalism. This means to restrict the size of the change to something small and realistic. Incrementalism is beneficial in 3 main ways. Firstly, it enables your mind and body to get used to the new habit with minimal pushback. A new habit is by definition a distinct change, not a giant one. If it were so easy to implement, we would snap our fingers and have the life, body, health and wealth that we desire. But almost no one has all of those things. Tony Robbins created $1 billion empire out of convincing you it's yours if you want it enough. It's actually fiendishly hard to do so in practice. Don't compound that difficulty by, in a temporary gung-ho spirit, promising yourself drastic change. You will simply end up paying the hefty impatience tax. It doesn't matter that it gives the appearance that nothing's changed. If you go from 12 chocolate bars a week to 11, who the hell cares, right? Well, your body will. It will accept a small change and it won't fight back. Conversely, it will fight back, viciously, if you attempt to go from 12 to 1. So don't needlessly poke the bear with misbegotten plans. Secondly, it helps when you're not the only stakeholder. If you decide to drastically switch from 3 nights out a week to 1 per month, there is a high chance that this sudden upheaval of your social life will upset everyone around you. This will create acute social pressure that will make things much harder. This is especially true if you've not mastered the art of not caring what others think. See FutureDad 10, your friends are temporary, and FutureDad 8, saying no is positive. Equally, if you decide to cut back on all junk food completely, it is such a binary goal that failing it is almost guaranteed. Lastly, incrementalism allows for the identification of the benefits to spur you on. It will help to reaffirm why you were bothering with a habit change in the first place. When I switched from waking at 7:15 on weekdays and 8 a.m. weekends to 6 a.m. every day, I didn't achieve it in one step. I did it in increments of 15 minutes, 1 week at a time, to convince myself that it really was worth it. And it was. It feels good every day after the initial shock, and it always seems like there's a lot more hours in my day and therefore days in my life. Incrementalism must still be employed after the habit is in place. Take exercise or learning chess or writing with 1,000 component parts to master. If you give marginally less attention to them, eventually you will falter. The delay makes it deceptively hard to notice, so you must be forensic about each step. Why didn't I make a mind-body connection with that incline press? Why did I get forked by the knight again? Why did the main character's dialogue become wooden and difficult to write? If your habits lie unexamined, then the same fate will befall them as a bike pushed down a hill by itself. Fine at first, but it will eventually go sideways into a ditch. Now, some may think I'm being overtly cautious about suggesting big changes. Just be a billionaire astronaut, bro. But everyone steeply discounts the difficulty of achieving anything in the future. Everyone participates in this folly to the point of mass delusional psychosis. It will only take 2 months to find a job. You only need a couple of tools to redo the garden. It will only be £2,000 to redecorate, etc., etc. What is the frequency, would you say, that these forecasts are wildly optimistic and it needs more time, more tools, or ends up costing more? 90% of the time? More? Humans are notoriously, galactically bad at forecasting because everyone wears rose-tinted glasses when it comes to future time and resources. See FutureDad 42, everything new takes 4 times as long. So with that being said, always assume it will be more difficult than your original estimate and be more moderate in your expectation of habit building to improve your life. Think of it the following way. You're not doing the thing right now, so what makes you think just casually saying you'll change changes anything? 4. Change one thing at a time. This is closely related to incrementalism, but don't confuse the two. They are distinctly different considerations. If you are unsure about this, go back and read section 3 again to get that aha moment. The mental separation of the two is crucial to help you win. This technique should be simple. If you're moving home, don't make a brand new workout plan. If you're changing jobs, don't also change your diet. You have at your disposal a finite amount of soma, which approximates to life force. It doesn't have a mystical meaning. It's closer in reality to a fuel tank in a car than to something spiritual. Anyway, the point is to not attempt a lasting change when you are preoccupied. You will make something that's difficult almost impossible. You can't isolate your body's response to and benefit from more than one change. You are not in the montage sequence of a movie with uplifting rock music and a transformation at the end. If you do for some reason attempt to improve your diet and embark on a new sleep schedule, how do you know what's worked and what hasn't? How do you know how to finesse the change and keep from backtracking? Put another way, do not push yourself past the red line with changes. You must think like a scientist, improving this or that, one step at a time. Be sensible and make the change against a backdrop of relative peace and harmony in your life. If you don't have that at all and you are suffering at this very moment, then this too will pass. If you're currently trying to disembark the hedonic treadmill, see FutureDad 36, disembark the experiential treadmill, you have to first adjust to correct your overall bad situation first before you attempt any change. 5. Grit your teeth. Any habit change is hard. You're full of hope and passion for the change, and then reality strikes. When you told yourself you'd rise early to go for a jog every day, it made you smile at the thought. You daydream about racing round the park and impressing everyone with your boundless energy and fitness levels, but it doesn't happen. There's a strange reality force field that surrounds us when making future plans. We know, at some level, that it is a million times easier to say than to do, and yet we lie to ourselves, see FutureDad 2, Lies, Life's Deep Water, that this time is different. So face that honestly before you even start. Take a moment and admit to yourself straight off the bat that this will be difficult. I mean, really difficult. Beyond the word difficult or the phrase, this will be difficult. Difficult in a way that you'd rather do absolutely anything else than the thing you just recently smiled about as you daydreamed it changing your life. Difficult in a way that A, planning to study for an exam by designing a coloured chart is compared to B, studying for the exam. The only way to grit your teeth is to take action and do it. Pick up the weight for one rep and do it. The next rep is easier, so do it again, and again, and again. 6. Visualize to stop you wavering. I've heard of people putting a picture on their fridge of them when they are at their fattest or conversely at their slimmest. This doesn't work in two ways. Firstly, it's easy when the urge is strong enough to let your gaze drift past the picture like a gentle breeze across a field of corn. Secondly, you can't put the picture in all the other places of temptation. So rather than that, use a mental totem. The same picture or video of you at your fattest or fittest, whatever is the most vivid. Then commit it to memory. In the fragile time of the first 2 weeks of a new habit, be ready to manifest it in your head in that moment of weakness. So let's say you're trying to wake up early. Keep that simple image of you waking up with a smile because you're up and feeling good while everyone else is still lazing in bed. You need this visualization as a stabilizing force at the bottom of the ladder you're trying to climb. Only in the first 2 weeks of habit formation are you going to need it. The rest is just habit. Future Dad.